in them to the point where you can go and have a conversation, that kind of thing. And so the same really applies in trading. It's you need to learn the basics, and learning the basics itself doesn't take you very long. You can read my course in a weekend, but that ain't going to make you a professional trader in a weekend, of course. I always said that to learn to trade, you need two things. You need a strategy, and that's like learning moves in chess, uh, and you need the discipline to trade that strategy and to be able to take a loss. And again, the chess analogy works here. One of the hardest things to learn in chess is the art of sacrifice. Sometimes you have to sacrifice pieces to win the game, and to look at the bigger picture. And the same is true in trading. You've got to take a loss. You've got to know when to cut your losses, and it's hard. It's hard to lose money. A lot of people have a very big problem with that, and that's one of the things what sorts out the profitable traders from those what never make it profitable, is that some people just never can learn to take a loss, and that all comes down to discipline. And once you've got those two things, then it's just a case of practice, practice, practice. And on the subject of practicing, here's one view on that. This gentleman is Malcolm Gladwell, well-known author, and his most recent book is called Outliers. And the basic premise of his book Outliers is that to become proficient or professional, to get any skill to a professional level, takes about 10,000 hours of practice. That's an awful lot of time. 10,000 hours. If you practice 4 hours a day, then you're talking about 7 years. Now he's talking about professional musicians, professional sportsmen, that kind of thing. Uh, and after lots of studies have been done on this, and that's what it comes out at, that to get to the top level takes about 10,000 hours of practice. And that's what it comes down to. To get good at anything takes practice. Now I don't think that trading takes 10,000 hours. In fact, I know it doesn't take 10,000 hours to become professional, because I'm pretty sure that I haven't traded for 10,000 hours, although I'm probably not far off that. But so trading in some ways is actually a lot easier to learn than many other skills or professions. In fact, let's compare trading to some other skills and professions now. Let's have a look at surgeons. If you want to go and become a surgeon, then you're looking at a minimum of 12 years of study. Um, you've got university, then you've got about 4 years of medical school, and then about another 4 years of graduate placement, and that's before you even go off and start to specialise. So minimum time, if you want to learn to become a surgeon, is absolute total minimum time is 12 years. After that, you can go off and start to specialise. And once you're specialised, the average wage for a surgeon in the US is $143,000, which ain't really a fortune. I mean, it's a decent wage, don't get me wrong, but it's not a fortune, is it? For especially considering that you've put in 12 hours of study to get to that level. Of course, the other thing about being a surgeon is that you're responsible for people's lives. It's a huge amount of stress and a huge amount of responsibility, and that's not for everybody, is it? Let's have a look at another example. Airline pilot. I do like me aviation analogies. They just seem to work so well with trading. Now, to become a commercial airline pilot, you're looking at least 3 to 6 months training, and that's if you take the fast track option, where you go off to one of these kind of boot camp things and you learn everything. You do all your flight training, your ground school, your exams, and everything on site, residential. You can fast track it in about 6 months, but 6 months, that gets you to the point where you've got a commercial license, and that's where your real training really starts. If you want to then go on to become a captain for an airline, you're going to need at least, and this is again a minimum, at least 4 years of commercial flying experience before anyone will consider taking you on as a captain. So once you've done your 4 years, 5 years with your training, then you might be able to become a captain in an airline and earn an average wage in the US of $103,000, and you've got 50 grand's worth of training costs in there, again on an average. So 4 years, 50 grand in the hole, and then you can start earning a half decent wage. And of course, airline pilots as well, responsible for people's lives. A lot of responsibility, it ain't for everyone. Musicians, something I mentioned earlier, if you want to be a musician, then you're looking at probably realistically 10 years of training or more. If you're going to be any good, then you probably need to have started your music career at a very young age. Most professional musicians started while they were at school and practice for hours and hours and hours every day. In fact, once you make it to professional level, you're not done. You know, you've still got to be practicing at least 4 hours a day, and that's practice time what you're not getting paid for. Um, Being a musician is a bit difficult. Of course, it's a bit of a calling, isn't it? People love music, people love playing music, and a lot of musicians don't do it for the money. And just as well, because a high wage for a professional musician ain't going to be any more than about 100k, and that's if you're playing professionally with one of the top orchestras and touring and making records and that kind of thing. So not a route to get rich, but an awful lot of work to get anywhere. Get something a bit more down to earth. Being a plumber, well, being a plumber a little bit different. You can do about 6 months of training and then get an apprenticeship, and once you've done about 2 years, then you're probably okay to go it alone. Training costs much lower. You can probably get away with about $1,000 or so, but of course your average wage is reflected in that, and the average wage for a plumber in the US is just $43,000. So the route to market, if you like, the way to get started, uh, you can get there much quicker and much cheaper, but you're not going to earn as much. Now let's compare that to being a day trader. Now, time to learn trading, let's say from 3 months to 2 years. Some of my students, some of the better students, get done quicker than 3 months. They start making money earlier than that. 3 months to a year is probably average to start making a decent amount of money from trading, consistent profits. And on the outside, maybe 2 years, maybe a bit longer. Some people, if they don't have the discipline but keep working at it. So let's call it somewhere in that range there. And the average wage for a trader, well, this is what really makes the difference. It could be 100k, could be 250k, or it could be even more. And this is something I think that really marks trading out as a profession is, okay, you've still got to put in the time, you've got to do your hours, you've got to do your flight time, whatever, to get to that level where you can call it a profession, where you can make a living at it. But once you get there, how much you make is pretty much unlimited. I mean, it's how much money do you want to risk on each trade. It's not like some of these other professions where you're limited by how much someone's willing to pay you to do the job. It's entirely down to you. Um, and so what I always say is that trading isn't a get rich quick business, it's a get rich slow business. And there's two messages in there. One is that yeah, it takes time, but the other message is you can get rich. I mean, you can make an awful lot of money from trading. So sometimes I get a little bit annoyed when people expect to just pick up a book and start making, money 3 days later. It's not like that. It's a profession, um, but you can make a lot of money from it if you do it right and if you put in the hours. Um, so if we're going to summarise what we've covered in this video, really, is that trading, as I say, is a profession like any other, and just like any other profession, it takes time to get to a level where you can make a living at it. How long it takes to get there really depends on you, how many hours you put in each day, how much work you do on practicing, how many charts you look at each day. I mean, it's simple physics at the end of the day. The more time you put in, you can't help but improve. And of course, once you then start making your living from trading, then you need to treat it as your profession, treat it as a business, and do things the right way. Make sure that you've got the right equipment, make sure that you've got the right plans, and then you can't really go too far wrong. So there you have it, a bit of a lecture, this video, but with good intention, and I hope it's taken that way. Once again, sorry for the long time between videos. As I say, the markets have been particularly fruitful and profitable, and I hope that you'll be making a lot of money in the markets as well. And I promise you I will have another video out much sooner than since the last one. Alright then, good trading to you.